I'm coming on to film a little tutorial. Oh my goodness, I am playing around with making some hot chocolate tags, and these are what they look like. They do have faces from Peachy Keen Stamps, but you could use any face stamp that you're interested in using. And the die sets that I use to create them come from My Creative Time. So let me show you what I used. I am using some various hot cocoa sets. So the MCT D541 is the hot cocoa add-ons. I'm using the hot cocoa candy canes, which is this die plate here, and then the cocoa mug and stuff, and that's MCT 0539. And this set has lots of different cocoa accessories, etc. And then you have your candy canes. There's the word hot cocoa. There's snowflake, and there's all sorts of marshmallows and toppers to make your coffee at the top of your cup. And there's even some hearts. And there's 3 different sizes of mugs total, I believe. Here's 2 of them are in here. And then there's also a liner. You can do shakers. There's so many things you can do with these mug sets. So these are from My Creative Time. And then I'm using, to create a little ribbon along the cup, I'm using the eyelet belly band die, and I'm cutting that down just to get a little bit of a ruffle or it almost looks like lace, right? I'm using the largest snowflake doily die for the little snowflakes that pop out. And then once I finish doing the tutorial, I'm going to go off camera and finish making all my tags. And I'm sure I'll be adding a Christmas charm die and or some sort of tag from Lily of the Valley or from My Creative Time for sentiments on these. So that's everything. And then I was going to mention that I think I've shown before the medium teacup dies. If you don't have the mugs, you could also use these little teacups to make Christmas tags. And I've shown those to you before, and they look like this. So this is the medium teacup dies, and they can make this cup, and you can just look for little decorations that you can add. This little piece is where you get this red piece down here. And I think this is from one of the snowmen die sets at My Creative Time, this little ruffle. But you could use any sort of trim, including the belly band dies, to put trim around the teacup edge. So I just wanted to mention that too, in case you don't have the mug sets that I just showed. So let's dive into the tutorial. I'm going to start, I'll show you what I have going here, the pieces. So I am stamping on this piece here, which you can die cut out of the mug and make a shaker. That's what it's for. You can actually make a shaker mug if you want, but I'm just using it as a layering piece for the face to pop it up. And then I cut it out in white and glued it to the back so that if someone wants to use this as a tag, they can do a to and from or a sentiment on the back here. Okay, so I'm going to be stamping on this piece right here. I usually stamp on it before I glue it down. And the reason I do is in case you mess up your stamping, you only have to cut out one new piece. It's always good to get your face stamping done before you kind of glue everything together. So I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I always ink up my face, and I make sure that the ink is completely clear and that there's no over inking to the side of the faces, because you don't want extra ink to end up on your die cut. So after you have it inked really well, you just want to check the sides of it, make sure there's no over inking. And if there is, just use your fingers to get that off and make sure it's nice and clean. And then you can blow on it if you want. And then based on where this lace is going to hit, I want to make sure that I stamp my face below there. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and just give a nice light press. You don't want to smush it. You just want to give time for the ink to transfer and press gently down. Kathy Jacopovich always says it's like a kiss. You just want to kiss the cardstock. Okay, so there's our face sitting on top of this piece now. So let me close up my ink. Or actually, you know what? While we're doing that, I'm going to pull this face off. And again, these are from my Jill's Favorites. And I'm going to put this one on. And we're going to also stamp this little cup right here because I'm making 2 different tags. So I'm going to, again, ink this up really carefully. Make sure I don't have any over inking and that it looks nice and clean. And then I will bring it to the mug and just kiss the cardstock. So really gently. You don't want to press too hard. So there we go. Okay, so I have both of my faces stamped onto the mugs. I'm going to set that aside, and I'll close up my ink to keep it nice and juicy so it doesn't dry out. And we are ready to assemble. So I have already taken some tea dye distress ink or vintage photo, any brown ink that you want to use, and I have edged all of my edges around. So I've already done that. I did it with this white piece also. And now I'm ready. I'm going to go ahead and do it to this. This is going to be the back side of the smaller tag. So I'm just going to go around and just give this a nice light edging. And then we're going to glue some things together here. So I am using Tombow Mono. My bottle is very old, but Tombow Mono liquid glue. I love their glue. I've been using it forever. And and actually, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this little one, I'm going to glue just a little to get the white tag to the back. And this is so that if my family members use this as a Christmas tag, they have a place to write their to and from information on the back. So there's that. And then there's a little coffee strip that I did, and I'm going to ink the edges of that too. Let me close up my glue here for a second. And for the coffee, I'm using a slightly darker, the vintage photo distress ink. And I'm just going to ink around just to get rid of the white edges around this coffee that I colored with a Copic marker. And I have a bunch of markers I need to add ink to, so they're not coloring the best, which I don't like. But I didn't have time to go fill them right now, so we're just going to go with it. All right, so that's done. And so what we want to do is we're going to end up gluing our coffee pieces in place onto both of the mugs, okay? So we'll just put a little dab of glue, and we'll center this so that the back lip of the mug is still showing. All right, and we'll do the same thing with this one. Just add a little dab of glue and just add it to the top of the mug. And make sure you press down anytime you're gluing. You want to press down and hold in place until it dries where you want it. And on that snowflake ornament I showed earlier for my creative time, a couple times I added some things after I had glued and I didn't wait long enough, and my snowflakes did not stay glued perfectly. So you really do want to let things dry and set up, press down, make sure you have everything right where you want it, before you move on to the next step. So I am going to use a little bit, I'm going to pop this up, and actually before I do that, I think I'm going to, let's see if I can, I wish I could find my other, I have a Posca pen that I normally use to do my edging, but I can't find it. And this glue pen is not, this glossy white pen is not really cooperating. So I might just put a few little white marks on here for now, and then just call it good until I can use my better marker. I know I have it somewhere. A lot of times when I'm doing release work, things get moved around, and then I have to find them again because I work outside by my TV a lot in my living room when I'm working during the day, and then I don't get everything moved back to the regular spot on my desk. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and pop this up by placing some pop dots through the back here, and we'll take off the little papers. And this is just some Dollar Tree foam that I had. And then we're just going to pop this up. And that adds some dimension to our tag. And then I have this sweet little piece of lace we're going to put there. And then we're going to be gluing the lace. And then our whipped cream and some marshmallows are going to go here. And then our little Mary and our little candy cane. So isn't that going to be sweet? Now, I also like to color the face in, and I usually use a little bit of blue. Let's see. I'm going to use a little bit of blue ink, I think, and white ink. So I'm just going to, and I'm taking artistic license here, but I just like to add a little bit of color. I think it makes the white and a little bit of color makes the faces pop a little bit more up from the background. So I tend to just do a little, you know, some really light pink for the cheeks, and then some white, maybe a little bit of red for a tongue. It just kind of depends on what face you're using and what you think you need to make it look good. So we'll do a little bit of pink over here and here. Maybe add a little to the nose, like so. And I think I need a little bit of red. Let's grab some pink, pinky red, and we'll just fill out this tongue a little bit. There, that looks good. And I'm going to make a little red nose on this one. Oh, that's so cute. So that looks good. I'm going to redo the cheeks a little bit more on this one because they're drying really, really light. We'll just go over it a couple times. Get a little more depth. There we go. We'll see how that looks when it dries. You can always go back and add more later, you guys. So, you know, as you're coloring things, if it dries and it's really light, you might want to go back and add a little bit more white gel pen or whatever you think it needs, a little more color on the cheeks. And, oh my goodness, I miss my Posca pen. I need to find it. Okay, there we go. So that's good for now. And now we're going to go ahead and glue the rest of these items down. So, and I was going to mention that if you want this to kind of bend a little, you can put a little bit of slits up the lace so that it gives it a little bit of give. So I'm just slicing some little cuts in there. And that way, when I go to glue this, I'll have a little bit more give with getting the lace to lay down well. Oops. Wow, that glue came out fast. Whoa. So we'll put this just right at the top here. And I'm going to make sure that those edges don't show. There we go. Just make sure that that's even. Okay. And then we're going to take our little, I hope this is showing okay. I'm going to take this, just put a little bit of glue here, and I'm putting the whipped cream at the top, and we'll hold that in place so that it sticks down really good. And the nice thing about this Tomo Mono glue is that it does dry really fast. And I do ink the edges between all of the openings. The way Emma designed this die is there's these little openings, and so you can make it look like the whipped cream is toasted all the way through. So I do that. And then I'm adding some marshmallows, almost like a unicorn hot coffee, where you got the marshmallows, the sprinks, everything you want to put on it. So we'll add that on top and a little bit lower than the whipped cream. And then I'm going to put the word Merry. And if I can, we would add some sprinks to this too. So you can take out some of your shaker mixes that are Christmas mixes and use some little things to just add even more detail. So we're going to glue that down on top. And then we're going to add the candy cane. And I'm just tucking the candy cane in. I'm adding a little glue to the bottom part of the candy cane. And this is that candy cane die from my Creative Time. And then I'm just going to tuck this in so it's right behind. And we'll hold that in place until it dries. And then the last thing is just taking some, I love using jute twine, especially when I'm doing gingerbread type things. I think the jute twine is a wonderful addition because it's gingery. So I just tuck this, I fold it in half, I tuck it through the handle, And then once it's through the handle, I pull the loops through and I tighten it down and center it up at the top of the handle. So it's just like that. And it's nice and tight. And then I take it and I tie a knot. Okay, so I put the twine through the hole again, and then I lower that knot down so it sits right against the top of the handle. Okay, and you can tighten that down with your fingers. And that way your tie will not fall off. So if you're giving a package to someone, that secures the tie to the handle completely. So I do like to do that. Then I like to tie a knot at the top, and I usually don't tie it really tight. I leave it kind of loose in case whoever uses this tag needs to untie it for any reason to tie it onto a package. And this is where I will often slip my little tags that say, Happy Hot Cocoa Season, or maybe I'll add some jingle bells or something on a garment pin. But this is essentially the tag, and you can see the two different faces. This is the Starlight faces, I think, and then this is just one of the faces from my Jill's favorite set from Peachy Keen. But again, any faces that you have can work, and you can also hand draw faces. We have a lot of talented people that draw their own faces, and so you can go around and look at other people's gingerbreads and see how they're doing different things. I like to use the face stamps for my sake, especially when I'm doing a lot of production. It just makes it quicker for me. So that's how you do this one. And then the other one I'm showing you is this little teeny mug. This is the smallest size mug from Emma's Sets. And we've already got the hot cocoa in there, and we've got the face colored in. And so now we're just going to take this little ice cream, or whipped cream rather, and I'm going to add a little bit of the brown ink. And I just go lightly around the outside. And then where these slits are that Emma's added, you can just add a little bit of brown there too. And it makes it look like you've toasted, that the whipped cream is toasted. So I like to do that. And then you glue that on. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue along the bottom only. And then I'll tuck that in to the hot cocoa so that it's sitting right on top of the cocoa. And the last thing is to add either a straight candy cane, or you can also do an actual candy cane like this. And I think I would probably put it, since it's facing that direction, I would do it this way. And oh, you know what I usually do too is, before I put the backer on this smaller one, definitely put your candy cane between the two pieces. I've already glued it, so I need to actually cut another one of these. Let's see if I have an extra one. I die cut a bunch of stuff. I think I probably do. Let's see. Yeah, I do. So what you can do this a couple of different ways. Sometimes what I do is I take a piece of tape, an actual piece of Scotch tape, or you can use double-sided tape. So like some Suquang, or any tape that you get from any of the stores, and just take a piece of the tape, and you can use the tape to secure this down. So I've got my candy cane where I want it, and I'll just add the Suquang tape. I don't know how to say that, but the double-sided tape. And now I've got a piece of my hair in there. We don't want that. All right, so there's a little piece of the sticky tape, and then you can just take this and put it over and get it right in place. So that will hold that candy cane in very securely so it doesn't come out. And then just take your sponge dauber and re-edge around that, because you don't want the white to show at the front. So, and if you want, you can even give a little bit of that to the candy cane too, so it sort of fits in better with your inked tag. So the last thing you would need to add to this, of course, is a little tie. And again, I would probably just use this, but you could use ribbon, you could do it however you want to do it. But this just these turn out so cute, and they're a tinier tag compared to the bigger ones. I'm going to set that aside because I'm not going to use that. But there they are. So we have the two larger hot cocos and then these 2 smaller ones. And I hope you enjoyed watching me create these. And I'm hoping when I re-look at this video that I just filmed that I was in frame for what I just showed you. So let's hope you got to see it well and that you enjoyed looking at these adorable little hot cocos in the 2 different sizes. So I just think they're so, so sweet. And I love how that word Merry from the Merry Christmas in Emma's envelope die set worked so perfectly on both those as well as on the center of my little snowflake. So that is everything that I wanted to show you as far as how to make the tags. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of kind of like a Friday night makes, but it's really for Saturday morning makes this week. And thank you so much for watching, and to everybody that leaves comments and gives me thumbs up, which really helps my channel and most shares out my videos. I so appreciate each and every one of you for helping my channel to grow and for sharing heart with me. All right, everybody, I hope you have a lovely weekend, okay? And my love goes out to Annette and P, who just had a thing. She had some medical procedures, as has Annette. And I know many of you are going through things like that. So just know I'm thinking of you and just wishing you all well. Those of you that are caring for husbands and taking care of medical issues and family members. So blessings and hugs. Everybody choose joy. Have a wonderful weekend. All right. Bye now.